Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you how to install these guys right here, these USB plugs, along with a block-off plate right here. Now, for these USB plugs, there's a few ways you can get power to them. For this longer one, you can see it's a long cable. You can snake it down here, and then you can snake it right back to the cigarette port that is right down there. Or what you can do is you can use an adapter like this one that I have right here, which goes right to a USB plug, and just tap it into your radio wires, which I'm going to show you how to do today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by popping off this bezel. So you don't need any tools for this. You can use a plastic pry tool if you need, but in my case I don't, because mine protrudes enough where I can just get my fingers behind it and pull. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it from the top, just pull it straight back, and you can see it pops out just like so. You can see here that you have, if you have fog lights and traction control or ASR, you will have two plugs here that you need to unplug. So to do this, what you're going to do first, I'm going to set this down. So what I like to do is I like to take a simple Phillips head screwdriver like so, and just, you can see right here where that white tab is. I'm going to press in right on that tab, and then I'm going to pull straight back on this plug. And with a little bit of effort and some attempts, it will eventually come out. You can also use a flathead screwdriver. That is a good plan as well. But as you can see, it comes out like so. And then same thing for the fog lights, which are further back, so they are kind of difficult to get out. Now, if you're like me, where you have a USB port coming out of the back of your head unit, what you're going to do at this point is pop out the current plate that is right here. In some cars, I know there's a little single one that's about the size of these, and I don't quite know how they come out, but I'm going to show you both ways to get them out, whether it's these guys with the little clips or just this guy right here. So for this, all you're going to do is you're going to go around the back here, and you'll see there's these 6 little clips around the edges. All you're going to do is just push on it very lightly. Make sure you're careful with this so you don't break the clips, and it'll come just out just like so. So now that you have it out, what you're going to do is I'm going to be using both the USB-C and a plain USB plug in mine. So I'm going to show you how to do those, but the process is the same for these plugs as well. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to flip it around the back. And you have these two ports. What I'm going to do personally is I'm going to put the USB port inward and the USB-C port on the outside. So you'll notice on these little clips, they have these little positioners right there on the top. You can see that. That's only on the one side. And so you're going to look at your bezel here, and you're going to see that there's a little cutout right there, just like so. So all we're going to do is we're going to match it up. You'll also be able to tell on the USB because the little insert right there is going to be up. So you're just going to press straight in and just push it through until it clicks. There's side 1 and side 2. Now make sure there's no gaps here, and you're all good to go. Once again, for the USB-C side, it's going to be the same deal. You'll notice these cables are very different lengths. I would keep that in mind when you decide which one you want in your car. But you can also just find general USB extenders for fairly cheap if you want one of those and you still want USB-C. So I'm going to plug the USB-C in on the outside here, just like so. In the same exact manner. Got one side clicked, and the other side is done. If you ordered a single plug, it's going to come with this as well. So you're going to use this plug. I'm putting it on the interior one, but you can do it on either. And I'm just simply going to come right here and push straight in, just like so. So you can see right here, there's one side in and there's two sides in. You're going to make sure there's no gaps here. Sorry, I'm cutting in from the future. I didn't like the way I explained this at the time in the video, so I'm going to go over it better now. So to get these out, what you're going to do, I'm going to start with this blank since you can see the best, and I'm going to work up. All you're going to do is you're going to take a small flathead screwdriver. You can also use a big one. It doesn't matter too much. Is you're going to just take it, push it right in that gap, and then pry out. And while you're doing this, you're going to put your hand on the back side and just kind of push up and then just like that, it pops out. So once again, on the USB-C, it's going to be the same deal, where I recommend starting with this side where there's this little indicator, like so, because it tends to hold tighter on that side than the other. So I'm going to simply, once again, pry up there, hand underneath, push on it, and pull it straight out, just like so. And one thing I want to make note of is these are a lot harder to get in and out than the OEM ones. That is by design. Since you're plugging something in and out of these so much, it's not like a simple switch where you can just switch it on and off and that's it. You're going to be pushing on this, you're going to be pulling on it, and so every little bit of movement is just going to cause more problems, and these ports are loose enough as it is, you don't want to influence that. So that explains that. So if you're using like a fog light switch, taking that out or whatever reason, it's going to be a lot easier than these ones. So once again, finally showing you on this one where you can see a little bit better since it's white. Put your screwdriver in right there, pry on it, and then same thing right here, pry on it again, and it pops straight out. Since I'm showing you how to also use this USB converter right here, I'm going to continue and pull out this radio. If you have a factory one, or you have factory screws, I believe these are normally a 7mm, but on my car they are Phillips heads. So I'm going to very quickly remove those. And now that you have those screws out, what you're going to do is you are going to start pulling the head unit out and make sure to unplug everything that stays in the car. In my case, my head unit did not come unplugged easily, so I'm just going to set it down like here, just like so. And now if you're installing this guy, what you're going to do is, if you ordered this from me, I will already have these put on here, and I'll also include these two wire taps right here. So you have two options. Number one, if you have a aftermarket radio, I'd recommend tapping into the radio side of the harness instead of on the car, just that way it's not permanent, but that's ultimately up to you. But if you are doing this, you either have the option of doing it to the accessory power, which is red on my harness, or on the factory harness, it is, I believe, a yellow wire, or you can wire it into the constant hot, which in my case is a yellow wire on this aftermarket harness, or it is the orange wire on the factory harness. So what I'm going to do is, personally, I'm going to wire this up to the constant harness just because I don't leave things plugged in. And so all you're going to do with this guy is you're going to take it, you're going to find a spot on your harness to tap in, and just like so, you're going to slide it over and push down just a bit, and then you'll close it up. And so you're not done yet. With these clips, what you'll do is you'll go until they clip, just like that. So until this is in the clip position, you need to continue pressing down. Once you have it started, you're going to use a pair of pliers or something of the sort and just gently compress it until it clicks, just like it did there. And so now the hot side is done. So now we need to find our ground. On my harness, the ground wire is this black one, and also on the factory harness right there is also your ground wire. So once again, I have it slipped on the wire here. It's not penetrated yet. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to compress it. I'm going to flip this over and clip it. We're going to grab a pair of pliers and once again gently squeeze until it clicks. You may not hear it click, so you can just look down here. You can see that it has fully engaged there. So now what we're going to do once we have these two wire taps completed is we are going to take our harness here, and in my case, like I said, the yellow wire, or on the factory harness is an orange wire. We're going to take this red wire here and slip it right over. Make sure that the blade on the connector on the adapter here goes into this wire tap. Sometimes I've had cases where they'll go on the outside, and then you're kind of just back at square one. You have to unplug it and redo it. So now once again, the ground wire is going to go right up here and just slide it straight in. Once it's done, you can give it a slight pull and you'll be able to tell. If it's not engaged, you can just pull it straight out. And so that's your indicator. So now I'm going to put my radio back together, get it back into the dash, and then we'll continue from there. So you can see here that we have our USB from that little adapter we made, and I also have the one that comes out of my head unit. Now, if you're wanting to use one like in the cigarette lighter on your car already, I'd recommend getting this USB one, and you can run it back down through the back here and have it pop out right down here underneath your cup holder, and then run it around to right here. I've done it before on a different head unit to have a cord pop out right there, but essentially you could do that option if you want, but I will not be doing that today. So what I'm going to do is, personally, I want the USB-C plugged into this guy because this is a higher amperage plug. This is 5 volts 3 amps versus this is a 5 volt 1.5 amp plug, and I want to have the one for charging on USB-C and the one for syncing on the USB port. So like I said, if you're running your USB down through there, you can unbundle it, but in my case I'm going to keep it bundled up, so I'm going to do that very quickly. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my USB port and plug it into the radio side on my car, just like so. I'm going to take my USB-C port and my USB from our adapter we just put in. I'm going to plug it in right here. And now, before we close this all up, I'm going to test that both of these plugs work. In my case, all I'm going to do is I'm going to plug my phone in to each one looking for sync and 2 looking for charging. So I'm going to do that very quickly, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so both of my plugs are working. So next we're going to do is we're going to take this black plug here, which goes to our traction control, and plug that in on the bezel. And then same thing for the fog lights, which is the white plug. So now I have those plugged in. Now I'm going to take these USB plugs, or these wires, and I'm going to tuck them back behind the radio here on my car, just like so. And I'm going to close everything all up. Now, when you're doing this, be very careful to not scratch up your head unit. I accidentally did that when I installed this head unit right here, and I still regret it, but what's done is done. And then now, as you can see here, we have 2 USB plugs on the dash. Just a small update after the recording of this video. I changed the design slightly on the USB one, where it's a bit tighter in terms of how the plug fits. And so in the video you may notice some gaps. Those are not there anymore. So the design you'll be getting is closer to this white one than the black one you saw in that video.